Hello friends, just getting the stream set up. Give me just a second, but today what we're going... Hello friends, just getting the stream set up. You can tell I don't really know what I'm doing because just made that mistake. Okay, so today we are working on the typeface print shop, which I've been designing in Spoonbender, which is a font editor I work on. It's a fork of Runebender by Rafe Levine and Colin Rothfuss. Yeah, and let's get started. I've got to send out a tweet letting people know I'm doing this live stream, and then I'll get into it. So just bear with me for just like one more minute. Okay. Oh, bye. Okay, tweet has been sent, so let's get started. All right, here we go. Okay. I have just designed the L glyph. That is not very complicated, so let's do let's do the J glyph really quick. Yeah. So in order to do that, let's just copy this, open this, put this over here. Okay. All right, let's get started. We want to, oops. Uh-oh. Kind of messed my setup up, but oh well. Just quit out of that and call that good. You know what, that's not bad. I kind of like that. So, scoot this over just a little bit. And let's add 2 points in there. And let's just scoot that over a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is at 170. 170. It's down to 170. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. Now let's put another point in there. So let's see, where is this? This is at 39, that's at 39, 38. Okay, So I think on this side, we're gonna want maybe like a 14 side bearing, and then on this other side, we want about like an 8 side bearing. Bring this over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Bring this one up. Over, and then I'll just kind of need to spend a little bit of time tweaking this. I'm not going to get this glyph perfect right away. I'm just going to kind of get it most of the way there and then move on to another one. So that's at 170. Go. And then if you're, I noticed I actually got a couple of viewers from my tweet, so if you're watching this and you have any questions or you're confused or whatever, just let me know. I'll answer any question. No question is too you know, I'll answer whatever. Just ask me some questions. This the font editor I'm using is Spoonbender, which is my like personal fork of RuneBender. Yeah, so it's a font editor I basically like design for myself to fit all like the things I want out of a font editor, which is pretty fun. I enjoy working on it. You know what? I think we're pretty good here. We got... Oops. Okay, so one thing is you have to actually save it to get the side bearings to update in the preview zone. So see if I hit save, pushes these together. So J, oops, what's going on? Let's look at, we want to pull up an E. Bring this over. So this is 150. And we want this to line up. So we'll go down. Okay, so now that's at 150. We get rid of the E, and now you see that like you do like EJ, 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 J, 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 J. So I think to me that looks good. I'm gonna go do, the way I like to work on type design is I like to kind of do fonts in like passes, where I'm like, one pass over the font is just roughing in all the glyphs, and then I'll do like a cleanup pass, and then I'll do like another cleanup pass where I'm doing kind of more fine-grained changes. So let's just call this good, and let's look, what should we do next? Let's do the H. Okay, so here's the H, and we can save. Oops. What the heck just happened? Okay. There we go. So get rid of the H. let's copy this I. And now, okay. I'm going to use the pen tool. I'm going to put 2 little points in there. So that's at 183, 183, 183. What's this at? This is 470. So we'll take this up to 470. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's at 430. 430, 440. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 183. Okay. Looking good. Put that up to 430. Let's get a little bit more space to work with. Oh, hey, I got a comment. Alex. Oh, hey, Alex. The program is Spoonbender, which is like my fork of Runebender. I'll paste the link to it in the chat. But it's basically, so it's a, a fork of a font editor written by Rafe Levine and Colin Rothfuss, and I helped a little with the upstream font editor, which is called Runebender. But you know, I'm not as experienced of a programmer as them, so I'm, you know, sometimes I was like a little bit slowed down in the development by the quality standards that were expected. You know, they're both like very, like Rafe has worked at Google as like an engineer forever. He did Spyro. You know, he's really like a good programmer, where I'm more of like like kind of like a self-taught programmer. I'm becoming, you know, I consider myself like a junior software engineer, but I'm, you know, my skill level's still pretty low at this point. So I kind of wanted to do my own font editor where, you know, where I could merge pull requests that had like clippy issues and stuff like that. And I mean, that's the cool thing about open source font editors anyway, is that you can fork them, you can change them, you know, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, nice to have you here, Alex. It's not always. I kind of just live stream this stuff just because it's good motivation to work on this stuff, and it's kind of nice to have some of this stuff documented, because this software is still very early in development. There's not a lot of people using this software, so for me, like, live streaming it is partly like a way to kind of document like what state the software was on, like what state the software is in early on. I think it'll be interesting, probably about like a year from now, to come back and look at these streams, because this software I think is gonna actually be kind of serious software, like used by the font industry, and like kind of getting adoption like by the end of the year. And it'll be kind of cool to see like how early it was right now. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, so there's two groups working on cross-platform. Like, the cool thing about this is I'm not on a Mac, I'm on a Linux desktop. So there's a couple different font editors that are trying to like fill this space of like open source cross-platform font editors. And so there's this one, there's Runebender, which this is a fork of, and there's Modular Font Editor K, which I also contribute to very lightly right now. I'm planning on contributing a lot more this quarter. But that project is designed by Frederick Brennan, who is like pretty famous from like 8chan, and he was in a big, I think it was like an HBO documentary series called like Q Enter the Storm or something. But he's a super talented programmer and like a talented type designer too, and he's super like involved in Unicode. So I think this year, like, this whole like cross-platform font editor space is going to be really interesting. Well, I use, like, the difference between this and Glyphs is Glyphs doesn't work on Linux. So you can kind of see, like, I'm using a tiling window manager, which if you, you know, like if you know how to use like the command line, and if you're used to using command line software, using Linux on a tiling window manager makes a lot more sense. You know, I'm a designer, so I care about beauty and aesthetics. And to me, like, if you look at what my computer looks like, to me, it looks beautiful. And that inspires me to draw beautiful fonts, because I like beauty and aesthetics. So, I don't know. I just like designers. You don't have to overthink design. It's just like I like stuff that looks cool, and I try to design stuff that looks cool. And to me, Linux looks cool, so like using glyphs isn't an option for me because I don't feel like inspired when I'm using it. And the other thing is like it's really hard to make money in the font industry. So like if I'm using an open source font editor, the really cool thing about using a font editor like this is the source code's available. So you know, like boom, here's the source code to the font editor. You can't do this with glyphs. So I can go in here, I can see how my font editor works. While using this font editor, I'm learning Rust, which like there's tons of Rust jobs for lots of different stuff, like the Solana blockchain uses Rust. So if I can't find a job in the font industry because you know, like everyone hates me for trying to use Linux or something, I can just go work on Rust, and it feels really empowering. Like if I was using glyphs, and the other thing about glyphs is I've learned this from working on a font editor, is like a huge part of the work of working on a font editor is like QA and bug testing. And people that go to design school or who are in the design industry constantly talk about don't work for free, don't work for free, your time is valuable, don't work for free. It's like this huge sin to work for free. But if you're using glyphs and you're reporting bugs, you're working for free. That's, you know, like they're getting free labor out of you, and you're paying to use a tool that you have no control over. To me, and like besides doing fonts, like I'm also like a calligrapher. I do like mostly Arabic calligraphy, but some Latin. And so like when I'm doing calligraphy, I just make my own calligraphy pens out of bamboo. And I love it because, you know, I'm in total control over my tools, and, you know, I'm just kind of like one with my tool. Like my tool is something that I build myself. I understand how it works. And I kind of get that same feeling with designing and building my own font editors. It's just like anything, you know, like type design is super competitive, and you know, you have to get a competitive advantage wherever you can find one. And for me, it's like I just feel so much more happy and motivated when I have control over my tool, because I spend a lot of time doing this stuff, and it you know, I want to get it set up the way I want it. I don't want to feel like I'm being like yeah, I don't like the idea of like paying money to get a tool that you can't even like look at and learn from. Yeah. But I have to admit, I'm definitely like oh, cool, you do like hand lettering. So it was like, oh my, it didn't take me so long to try this out. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of, interesting drawing tools. Like lots of people make fonts in, I used to like just try to draw a font in like Adobe Illustrator, or like things, or like Inkscape, or like things like that. And there's lots of different ways to approach it. But that's kind of the beauty of stuff like this. Is it's just, you know, it's not for everyone. Like I don't think that doing these like Linux font editors is something that it's not right for everyone. It's just kind of helpful for like certain ways of working. So I'm looking at this. I have this measuring tool, and I want to see. So what is this? Is that 162? I think maybe my measuring tool is broken. Something's not right here. Let me see. So is one... Is it trying to tell me 165 is the width? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And this is... Oh, I'm in the US. But okay, so what I need to figure out is... This is the cool thing. So, you know, if I need to do some math or something, I just hit... I get this new window. Python 201 minus 18 times 2, 165. So cool, yeah, like 165 is the width. Like it's just, this is offset for some reason. And I'll fix that in another stream. I like to do streams where I like work on the font editor and then streams where I'm drawing. And so I don't want to get distracted by, I don't want to get distracted like fixing this bug right now, but I'll probably come back to it soon. So let me see. So here we've got 165, and then is this 220? 140. Okay, I think that's about right. Oh yeah, cool. Thanks for stopping by, Alex. I hardly ever have anyone actually comment on my YouTube stream, so it's been awesome getting some comments, and Have fun bartending. I used to live in New York. I used to live in Ridgewood for like a while. I lived in Bushwick too, so yeah. I kind of miss New York. But have a good one bartending. I would not want to be a bartender right now. Like I'm not sure I have COVID, but I think I got COVID like around New Year's, and it sucks. Like I've not been feeling good, and like that would like I just know how like people have been drinking and they can get kind of like reckless about like COVID stuff, and so shout out to Alex for doing a tough job. Essential worker without question. And I really like how, so I've got my my little H's over here, and I can just kind of keep track of them as I'm going. So this is the really nice thing about this. Oh, hey, thank you. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I hardly ever get any comments on my YouTube streams, so it's nice to have some people saying hello. So the thing I was gonna say is there's this coordinate panel down here, and this is really nice because I want this to line up with this, and if I look here, the x coordinate of this is 403. So say I select all these points, and over here it's telling me the x and y coordinate, but it's of the center point. Oh, Afzal, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm always shocked, like, if that people actually are interested in like font design on Linux, because it's such a like niche thing, and I've been trying to make this happen for a long time, and so like anyone that finds this interesting, like, thank you, because it's definitely like not something that's like mainstream or accepted yet, so I very appreciate it. It's fun. I mean, that's the thing that's great about the internet, is that like people can do kind of experimental or things that'll probably fail, but every once in a while you'll meet some other people that might be interested in it. So, okay, so what I was saying is this, if you can see down here, there's a circle, and this is telling me the center point, but I want to align it with this. So I just click on this, and now it's telling me where the furthest x coordinate is. And I wanted that to be at 403, so I've got this whole group of stuff selected. It's at 403, and then you can kind of see like 403, and then you look down here and you can see that it lines up. And we are getting closer to being done with this H. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three. One, two, three. Oh, really curious about RuneBender, but I don't get it clearly. Is it a program like FontForge or Glyphs? Okay, I could explain it really quickly. So the program I'm using now, it's my fork of RuneBender. So it's really just, I took RuneBender and I changed a lot of things about it, but at its core, it is RuneBender. And so, yeah, the thing that RuneBender is probably most similar to is FontForge, because FontForge is open source. But I think the best way for me to demonstrate this would just be to like open a new window. So I've just got, I'm just going to change directory into a Rust directory. No, okay. Well, I contribute to RuneBender. Like I was part of like when they originally started working on it. I went to a Libre Graphics meeting in Germany, which was where that project was announced, and then there was like a work session in Berlin that I attended. So I worked on it early on, and I'm a contributor, but I'm not the main developer. Like the main developers are I'll show you when I see the end of this. But it's Rafe Levine and Colin Rolfes. So I'm going to enter my Rust directory, go to repos, and go to Spoonbender. So now Spoonbender is a Rust program. And here are all the files for RuneBender. And you can actually look at the authors, and it'll show you like Rafe Levine is the primary author. I think it's in the cargo.toml too. Yeah, see, so here's Rafe Levine. It gives you his email address, and Rafe works at Google, and he was involved in Ghostscript, and he did Spyro. He's a very like accomplished programmer. And then Colin Rolfes is someone who attended Recurse Center in New York, and he's also like a really awesome programmer, and he did most of the work. Like I think the work that I did on RuneBender was mostly UI programming. But anyway, so RuneBender is open source, so if you're using RuneBender, you can just open up the source code and change anything you want about it. It's open source, it's like written in like pure Rust. Yeah, it's cool. It's all the source code's there, and it's under the Apache license, so you can do anything you want with it. You can you could take RuneBender and you could turn it into a proprietary font editor and sell it. You could fork it and make an open source font editor and sell it. You could, there's the possibilities are endless. It's really cool software. But so once you download it, you're just gonna want to install Rust, and then you can just do cargo run, and it'll open a font editor for you, and you can go for it. The stream I did before this one was a stream about how to install Rust and how to get modular font editor K building from scratch. So I think maybe my stream tomorrow, I could just do one where it's like, this is how to get Spoonbender or RuneBender working on a Mac computer just from scratch, like without Rust installed. That's definitely something I've been planning on doing at some point this month. I don't know if you saw, but Jack Dorsey tweeted a few days back that Rust is the perfect programming language, and that amplified my curiosity about Rust even more. Yeah, that's awesome. I kind of, it's weird that Jack Dorsey's like a Bitcoin maximalist, which is like kind of crazy, but I'm borderline an ETH maximalist, so I understand it. Like I'm getting deep into the crypto rabbit hole, so I understand where he's coming from. But yeah, I saw that tweet. That was awesome. Like, he seems kind of... There's some things I like about him. Like, he seems... I feel like people that work at like a big tech company, it can kind of like wear you down, where there's kind of this thing where it's like, if you're working at a big company, you don't want to stand out, or you don't want to ruffle anyone's feathers, or there's really this need to like just fit in, don't say the wrong thing. And I really admire people like him that kind of like can work on a big project like Twitter. It's kind of like still keep like a passion for technology and like playing around with programming languages on the weekend and stuff. So that was cool. I don't really think Rust is like the perfect programming language, but it's one of my favorites. I do Python a lot for like scripting, but yeah, like I'm pretty much like Rust and Python are like my go-tos. Professionally, like I'm trying to become a junior software engineer this year, and just kind of I want to kind of do type design as more of like an art practice where I can have like a lot more creative freedom. So I'm kind of trying to become a professional Rust programmer. And it's been awesome. I really enjoy it. So let's look at... Okay, so this is 142. And then we're going to want to get this 18 on the side. Save that. What is... So this is 136 with the top at 292. And this has a top at let's bring this down. Oh, I was reading the wrong one. 432. Bring that up. 136. 142. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Oh. I'm a designer and a complete noob in programming. So any tips for me to get started in programming? Thinking about starting. Oh, if you have a Mac, I would look at Drawbot. Let me show you real quick. Okay, so this is what I would do if I was like a complete beginner at programming. I'd get a Linux computer first just to play around with it, and like you can get one. You can get like a Linux computer, and it doesn't have to be a nice computer. Just get like a garbage trash computer, put Linux on it, and just Arch Linux though. Like Arch Linux is probably like the way you want to go. But I would just go to Rustlang and you click on Learn, and it links you to the Rust programming language book, which this is the like the Rust programming language book, which pretty much like everything I know about Rust I learned from this book. It's really, really, really good, and it's free online. So you just go to docs.rustlang.org.book, and it's linked from the Rust website. And that's all you need to do to learn Rust is just go over that book, and then you've got it. And then for Python, I would just check out like Drawbot, which is this. It's like a graphics programming thing for Python, where it lets you. It lets you just do kind of like graphics programming in Python. But I would also maybe look into Turtle graphics for Python. That can be kind of fun too. Okay. So I'm looking at this, and it looks like the H is a little wide. Oops. Okay, that's an annoying bug I need to fix. I end up not being able to select stuff when it's behind there. This feels off. The problem with oh, no problem, Afzal. Thanks for stopping by. Check out the Rust book. It's really good. It's not really creative coding geared, but yeah, it's fun. I'm not completely sure where I want to go with this H, but I think I'm just going to call that good and move on to another one because it's definitely too wide. No, now it's not wide enough. Anyway, I'm not gonna get lost like tweaking that. I'm just gonna move on. So this is what we're looking at right now. We've got all these, and we need to fill in all the rest. So we've got an R, but we don't have a P. So let me try to create a P from an R. By H. Done. That was hard. Let's bump this side bearing down a little. Okay. Okay, so let's turn this F into a T. 142, 138. 138, 138. Reminds me of that Misfits song, like, we are 138. That's how the song is. It 138? I don't know. I used to really like the Misfits. That was a fun band. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just realized we could write pen and teller. There's like magician guys that made that bus video game. Oh well. I think this might be a little bit too wide. Okay, that actually looks pretty good to me. Okay, the T is done. Or not done, but actually, you know what? The sides of the T should be 10, not 18. Okay, anyway, that's getting there. So, what should we do next? Let's get... the Q is going to be so hard. I do not want to do the Q. I don't want to do the S. Oh, I don't want to do the Z either. All the easy ones are gone. Let's do the U. I think I'll just take the H, and we'll try to turn that into a U. Okay, so still feels a little wide. All right. It's nothing too fancy, but I'm just gonna call that good for now. I'll save. We're making progress. We're down to we're quickly running out of easy characters to draw. Let's do the Z. And in order to do the Z, I would like to look Let's use the T as the starting place. Okay, that's kind of a wonky Z, but you know, I don't want to like zone out on perfecting it or anything. I just want to get it like most of the way there. You know, it says Zen under Zen over here, so you know, that's fine. It's good enough to hit save and move on. Oops! Good thing I saved it. So the save function worked. We've still got our Z. And let me think. What should we do next? Let's do the Y. Let's get Y out of the way. Isn't that cool? Like I can switch it between, I can have the text preview under here, just on this part, or all the way over here, and I can switch. I mean, this is why I think that using a tiling window manager, like once it clicks for people in the font industry, like even if you just hate Linux, and there are, like, in the font industry, you will meet people that just absolutely hate Linux. Like, they hate it. They love Mac so much, like, they couldn't even imagine using Linux, but, like, the way capitalism works is if Linux is faster for designing fonts, you're going to use Linux. And it is faster. Like, you can't do cool moves like this in Glyphs. It's like, there's so, like, and it's so snappy and responsive. Like, the thing that I really like about this font editor, or one of the things, is like, it's so responsive. It's like playing Fortnite, like, you know, or like playing like an action video game or something. It's, like, when I'm doing good type design work, I'm in the zone. Like, you want to be in the zone, or else you're just wasting your time. Like, I'm in the zone. I'm fully present. It's like I'm playing a video game, and that's what kind of like using i3 and like really snappy font editor like this does for me. Is it just makes everything so much easier. This is a hard one with there are a lot of tools that Glyphs has that just aren't in here yet. And this is that is definitely one that I'm struggling with. But that like the whole point is my goal this year is to do as much type design as possible in this software, and then just slowly just, you know, fix the bugs, add the features as I'm going. But I don't want to do I want to kind of follow the like worse is better software philosophy, where I don't just do this thing where I think when people are getting paid by like a company to write software, there's this thing they do where I think they're just pumping out features because that looks good to the people that pay the contracts or like pay for the software. It's like more features, better software. But if you spend a lot of time like really fine-tuning it for drawing and creative work, it's really hard to explain to someone who's paying for software that isn't like intimately involved with like drawing fonts, like that what you're doing is actually meaningful. Like it's such a deep skill that that yeah, it's just like it's just really hard to like justify. I don't think that I've never been paid any money to work on this font editor, and I would like to, like, if I am getting money somehow to work on this font editor, I would like to keep it from like streaming, from releasing fonts, but kind of like avoid taking any money directly for working on it, because that would, the pressure to just like pump out features is really high, where that's not really my goal is to just make the best possible drawing experience for me, and then hope that, like, you know, that, you know, other people kind of experience drawing as in the same way that I do. But if other people don't draw the way I draw, you know, I think of it as like I'm the client for this editor. Like, I'm just building exactly the font editor that I want for my way of drawing. And maybe it'll work for some other people, but if my goal going into working on this was like, I want to, you know, get other users and get other people working on this, I don't think I could ever be successful with it like that. Like, I have to approach it like I'm just making a font editor for myself, and, you know, and take it slow. Don't overload it with features. I think that, like, you open a font editor like Glyphs, and sometimes there's so many features and so many things to learn that you forget to actually just focus on the important thing, which is drawing and aesthetic quality and like taste. Which is why, like, to me, like, these font editors, it's like doing calligraphy with like an Arabic calligraphy pen. Like this Arabic calligraphy pen, qalam bil Arabi, qalam bil Arabi. This is in Arabic, like bil Arabi, qalam is the pen. So to me, this is like the same thing as this font editor, where designers love constraints, right? Like, constraints create good design a lot of the time. So, I mean, why is Arabic calligraphy is like some of the best calligraphy in the world? And I think part of why like the Arabic script has such a good tradition of calligraphy is that it's this kind of like DIY kind of hacker ethos of like making your own tools and using really, really simple tools. Because I made this pen myself. I carved it with a knife, and I could spend my entire life doing Arabic calligraphy. I could master the art, and I could do it all just making my own pens. And I would never have to devote any thought to like the pen as like a product that I buy, or it's a totally different way. And it's the same thing with, if you look at the way that my Arch Linux desktop is set up, you know, I approach my desktop computer the same way I approach Arabic calligraphy, which is I build my tools myself and I understand how my tools work. And that's what makes design fun for me. And every time I do design where I kind of stick to these principles, I do well and I succeed. And every time I kind of stray from that path, like if I try to use glyphs professionally, or I try to work on a Mac, I always fall on my face. I always fail. I miss deadlines. I get depressed. It's not the term, like sometimes people use the term like, are you like living your dharma, like, which I don't really know anything about. Like I only know like spiritual concepts in the context of like Islam, but dharma is like the concept of like you're like living your truth or something, and that like, and you just click with it and then you do really well. But like every single time I've ever tried to use glyphs professionally, it's a disaster and I do terrible. And every time, like, designing fonts on Linux just seems insane, like it's not going to work, but it just clicks for me. And I do, and I end up doing work I'm happy with. So my approach this year is I'm gonna try to like live my dharma. Like I'm gonna try to just really do the like this kind of stuff, like where I just make my own tools, and that always seems to work better in the end. I absolutely hate this Y though, so I'm just going to, let's see, 18, save. Okay, let's call that's good for now. Yeller. I think that's probably one of the kind of sloppier glyphs in this font so far, but just in the interest of moving on. Oops. God, I hate when I do that. I'm not used to I'm not used to using i3 as like my regular like everyday computer fully yet. Okay, so oh god, kill me. Let's just do the X. I hate doing the X, but I'm gonna do it. The X is so hard. But that, like, I think one of the cool things is like this font editor barely has any features. It's just totally bare bones. But I feel like the drawings that I produce on it are really good because I don't like not having those features is good. Because normally, like if I'm in Glyphs and I'm in this situation like, okay, so I'm using Glyphs and I get to the X and I don't want to draw the X and it's painful. I'll end up like using a layer or tracing something. But in this font editor, you don't have background image. And this is the RoboFont philosophy truly realized. Like, you have total control. You can customize everything, and the font editor gives you basically nothing. And for some reason, I think it's really hard to get your head around, but I think maybe that produces better results quicker than just getting lost in like technology and complexity. Done. That's the X. Let's see. So tried to turn the light on without getting out of my chair. Oh, I unplugged that light. Never mind. Oh, the sun's going down. I've actually got like a decent amount of work done today. This is why I love live streaming this stuff. It's because you sit down, you start live streaming, and then you're just stuck in your chair for a couple hours and you're just forced to get it done without procrastinating. And I'm creating content. So that's a win-win. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, what happened to my video? Did my video crash? I think my video crashed, so I don't know what's going on. So I guess if my video stopped working, I don't want to like fuss with this on stream, so it might be a good time to just call this stream good for the evening. We've made some progress. You know, I definitely did not have this many glyphs when I started streaming, so that's looking pretty good. So yeah, I think thanks for watching, everyone. It was really nice to like finally get some like comments and feedback in the chat. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a night, finish the stream, figure out why this froze, and then I'll be back streaming either later tonight to finish up the uppercase. No promises, I might be tired. Or I'll definitely be back for a stream tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, have a nice evening, everyone.